people, we are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. 26th of August, 6 days left till the transfer window slams shut. And we're still none the wiser of if we're going to bring anyone in, who we're going to bring in. A lot of business still to do, and Spurs fans, including ourselves, are getting, or I'm not getting, are very, very frustrated with the situation going on right now. And
Tic-tac.
yeah, tic-tac.
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 Look,
we've got. I mean, it's been fairly quiet news day today, to be honest. It's probably been the quietest day today than it has been in a while. So does that mean that nothing's going on? Or does it mean that Lange is working the darkness and something is going to come our way very, very soon? That is soon to be revealed. But the stories today, first up, we're going to talk about Yves Bissouma. And on Yves Bissouma, Fabrice Hawkins says that Bissouma is set to join Galatasaray. Negotiations are at a final stage between Tottenham and Gala for the transfer of the midfielder. Personal terms have already been agreed, and Mike McGrath also says that Galatasaray are in talks with Tottenham over a loan and obligation to buy for Yves Bissouma. Obviously, he's got 1 year left in his contract, so it will be very similar to previous deals that we have done in the past.
Yeah, and this is not, to be honest, this is expected. We knew he was going to leave between now and the end of the season. He's been curiously left out due to injury, says Thomas Frank, over the past, since the Super Cup, which we know he was left out due to disciplinary issues. We know even since the beginning of the window, we've been open to offers because he's got 1 year left and he's struggled with consistency. On his day, he's a good player, but Paulini has come in. There was always going to have to be someone leaving, and he was top of the list. So I wish, if Gallagher's the one, I wish him all the best. I think it's a good move for him. I think he'll probably do well there. It'll probably suit him. And we need to start getting players out the door, because at the moment it's only been Sonny when it comes to first team players. When it comes to having the registration issues for the Champions League, the numbers don't fit right now. So we need players to be leaving, and we know Bissouma's obviously top of that list. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, obviously the journalists that you listen to when a transfer is set to be made, like the Fabrizio Romanos and the David Ornsteins, no one's really jumped on this as of yet. However, these journalists are fairly reliable in themselves, so I do expect something to happen and this deal to progress pretty quick. Now, there has to be, because it's only 6 days left of the window. But look, I've always said that I like Bissouma as a personality, but it just hasn't worked since coming here. In my opinion, it's been pretty much a flop signing. There has been great moments in there, like the first 10 games under Ange, like the Europa League run as well, and a few other bits and pieces throughout. But on a whole, it hasn't lived up to the hype and the reputation which we thought we were getting. And we thought we were getting one of the leading midfielders in the Premier League when he did join from Brighton. And unfortunately, it hasn't worked out like that. Made loads of problems along the way. In terms of, how many times have we heard about him being late to training? Ange, said it, that, he spoke to him about being in the leadership group and being one of the leaders in the team, and the next day he was late. The laughing gas gate and all that kind of stuff, and most recently coming late to training on a number of occasions, and Thomas Frank, and we haven't seen him since. Thomas Frank left him out the squad for the Super Cup and literally haven't seen him since. So, yeah, we wish him the best. If he is to go to Galatasaray, and obviously we'll bring it to you first here when anything does break and does happen, but it looks that way at this moment in time. Bissouma could potentially be going to Galatasaray. I don't think it's the move he wanted, to be honest, because there were reports last week saying he wanted to stay in England, in terms of he's got 1 more year left to get that British passport, but it looks as though no English clubs are willing to take him.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a late bid by West Ham, because Potter knows him very well. He's one that he got the best out of him at Brighton. He's a position they desperately need. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a late twist there with West Ham. But look, right now it looks like Galatasaray.
Yeah. Let's talk about Savinho again. Maybe one of the last times that we're going to speak about him, because The Athletic says that Tottenham's hopes of signing Savinho rest on Man City being able to sign Rodrigo. For that, they have for that chance to materialise, Brazilian would have to tell Real Madrid that he wants to leave, which to date hasn't happened, meaning Savinho is currently on course to stay in Manchester. And I'm happy someone's finally just come out and said it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the feeling I've had. It's been the case probably for a while. There's been, to be fair, on Rodrigo, there is conflicting reports. Some saying yesterday we heard from the Spanish media the case is done, he's staying, and he's not leaving, he's not going anywhere. But then we've heard today that there might be still a case of him leaving, and he's not happy, and he's been left out of the Brazil squad, and he's not happy with the situation at Real Madrid at the moment. So I guess is that a book closed or not? Depends on who you believe, but I just think, regardless, I just don't know. I don't know if Savinho, even if the door is open for Rodrigo, is he going to Man City? Are we going to stump up the cash for Savinho? Is he going to end up coming here? I've just always been sceptical of this deal, and it seems as though it's heading in one direction. I'm just not confident. I think we've wasted way too much time on this. I think we should have moved on to other targets a long time ago. With the time, look, we should never be doing a deal dependent on Man City signing like a £100 million player. That seems like ridiculous. It seems ridiculous kind of set of circumstances. Unless we've got inside knowledge that it's definitely happening. Like, to be relying on that for us to get a deal done is quite frankly ludicrous. So I think we should be looking at alternatives, and we should have been looking a long time ago.
Yeah, they surely have to be, right? If a deal's taking this long to do, they can't be just reliant on Savinho from now to. It's just madness. Mm-hmm. How can they just be reliant on one player? There has to be some sort of movement in the background.
And if you're going to wait on this deal, you have to be super confident that it's going to materialise. And looking at all the facts of the case, who can be confident this deal is going to materialise?
I don't think anyone's confident at this moment in time. And look, the Athletics say at this moment in time he's currently on course to stay at Manchester, and I think that's the way it's going to stay, to be honest. On the Rodrigo situation, yeah, I mean, there has been a couple of reports saying that Liverpool are in the market for a winger still, and Rodrigo could be one of those players. Mentioned Man City, and they also mentioned Arsenal. They said Arsenal could still be in the market for a winger. I can't see Arsenal spending another 100 million. That would just be mad. Like, are they really going to spend 400 million this summer? I just can't see that. So Liverpool as well themselves, like, they've spent a hell of a lot of money. They've got the Isaac case still looming over. What's happening with that? So,
well, if they don't get Isaac, there's 100 million sitting there waiting to be spent, isn't there? So I guess there's a case. That's also another factor. Like, just because Rodrigo if he is to leave, it's not guaranteed to be City. So all this like talk of they're waiting to basically get a replacement. Oh, we're waiting to see if Rodrigo wants to leave, but it's not guaranteed he goes to Man City. He could go somewhere else. So
if he has the choice between Liverpool and Man City, who do you think he's picking?
Probably Liverpool. I don't know. Maybe Liverpool.
It's hard one, isn't it?
It's probably, is there more of a spot there for him at Liverpool than Man City? Given their lack of forwards right now, I think there's a case there.
Yeah.
And also, like, if he's replacing Savinho predominantly played on the right for Man City, and Rodrigo doesn't want to play on the right.
You say more of a spot, but let's be honest. If he goes to either Liverpool or Man City, he automatically becomes both of their best wingers.
Agreed, but I don't know. I just feel like Liverpool need him more than Man City potentially. And also, I think he's in more guaranteed to play in his favoured position. He's been stuck out on the right at Real Madrid, which is part of the reason why he's not happy. He goes to Liverpool, they've got Salah there on the right, so he's only going to be playing on the left, whereas at City, the spot opening would be on the right, not on the left, potentially. So I think he'd fit in better at Liverpool.
Yeah, look, I know he started for Real Madrid. He did get hauled off after the hour mark. He has just been left out of the Brazil squad, which is actually mad when you think about a player of Rodrigo's caliber being left out of his national team squad. And Carlo Ancelotti was speaking about it, and he says, players that are in my squad need to be playing for their club.
There you
and
go.
That, something like that, a national team boss says something like that, that could push you to a move.
I'm 100%, but I'm saying this is from a Tottenham perspective, we're dependent on this move happening to have City be open to Savinho leaving. And it just seems too many things that we need to fall into place for this transfer to happen. So why are we waiting on it? It's one of those things, if we should be looking at other targets, and if this is like a deadline day thing, then maybe, but we shouldn't be relying on this deal because it just seems as though it's so too unlikely.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Last but not least, we're going to talk about Lucas Paquetá of West Ham. Alex Crook says that Tottenham are considering a move for West Ham United midfielder Paquetá. Graham Potter does not want to lose him, but West Ham would consider bids that exceed £60 million for the midfielder. The Mail are also reporting that Tottenham are monitoring developments with Paquetá this week. The player is open to leaving West Ham for a Champions League club. Hello, Lucas. I would take Lucas Paquetá in a heartbeat. I think He's a brilliant player. I really do. I rate him highly. I think that he hasn't shown his true self at West Ham. Obviously, last season he had all those scandals and betting scandals hovering over him. Just mentally, he just wasn't right, in my opinion. But that seems to be over now. I think he can get back to his best if he's got the right conditions around him. And I think at Spurs that would be the case, to be honest. And, you know, it goes back to what you mentioned about Bissouma as well. Like, if West Ham is seriously interested in Bissouma, there could be a very good deal to be done here.
Yeah, and I've read today that apparently West Ham have offers for up to 8 players currently out waiting on responses. So they're very active in the market. Are they potentially making so many offers in the view that could Paquetá be leaving? We know he's not happy there. Why would he be with where they are at the moment? And last season, obviously, he had the whole thing, the betting scandal looming over him. That's now put to bed, and he's been found not guilty. So he can get over that. He scored a great goal against Chelsea, but look, he's 27. He's not a spring chicken anymore. Like he wants to be competing at the higher echelons. He knows 2 years ago he was on the brink of a big move to Man City before the betting scandal made that all fall apart. So this is a very good player. Man City, don't go that close to signing a player if they're not very good. So for me, is he a pure number 10? I think he's more of an 8, but he can play 10. And I think he could be a good 10. To be honest, I think. At Lyon, he was much more attacking than he has been at West Ham. I think his attacking numbers were much stronger when he was at Lyon. But since he moved to West Ham, he's been a bit deeper, and he hasn't quite got goals and assists as regularly as he should have. But I think when you put better players around him, like he will at Spurs, I think Frank will be licking his lips at the talent that Lucas Paquetá has. He's got brilliant skill, and what I love about Paquetá as well is he's not just a flair player. He gets stuck in. He's physical. He's very aggressive.
Likes the yellow card.
He likes the yellow card. I think he would fit in very well when it comes to our pressing system and getting him, having him from the tactical side, putting in the hard yards. I think he's perfect for that. So I would love Paquetá. I had some reservations about would West Ham deal with us, but reading a few things, it seems as though maybe they potentially would. They would potentially sell. Look, they sold us Kudus. If the price is right and they can get the replacements in, maybe they would be prepared to sell to Tottenham in that circumstance. And with everyone having moved on with their targets, no one above us in the food chain I can think of needs a number 10. Yeah. So I think this could work. This could be a deal that maybe potentially could happen.
Yeah, I mean, if it does happen, there's going to be absolute riots in East London. There really will be. But look, it's a long way to being serious or anything like that. There's only just links from the Mail and Alex Crook at the moment. But I really hope Spurs do go and pursue this.
60 million. Will Tottenham sum that money up?
I don't see why not. Like, he's worth that money, in my opinion. Like, I think his true value, I think is. I know it says 28 million there, but I do think with the quality of the player he is, I think his true value is between 50 and 60.
2 years ago, they were talking 80 million, wasn't it, to City? Yeah. They were talking about 80 million, and I know his performances haven't been great in that time, but
neither have Kudus.
I think he's just a player waiting to explode and waiting for the right environment. He needs a change of environment. West Ham are going nowhere anytime quickly. And I think West Ham fans know that. I think the players inside know that. You can see it with their performances on the pitch. And there's a real lack of belief. And it's hard when you're a player like Paquetá and you've got the ambitions to be at the very top. And the environment around you just isn't up to scratch. And you could argue, has he kept up his standards? Probably not, but I feel like it's one of those players. I think he does have a good mentality. I think you put him in the right environment, I think he'll flourish. I think he'll do really good.
Nicky was, we were speaking to him last night on London Is Ours, and he said that Paquetá was one of the only ones holding up those standards on the weekend.
Yeah, on the weekend, yeah. But I'm saying over the past couple of years, he hasn't been his best.
Yeah, but there's been circumstances to that. I don't think it's a mentality thing. I know you're saying he's got a good mentality, but there's been, like we mentioned, circumstances over all the charges that he's had against him. All those have gone now, and now those standards have seemed to have crept back into his game. So I think that if we were to sign him, this would be a really good signing for us, and I really hope that Spurs do and go and push the button on this. Because anyone that I'm seeing the names of, the Bilal Khanous and this kind of stuff, this guy is the best option for us at this moment in time, I think.
When it comes to Prem proven, again, he's probably the last option remaining that's maybe actually gettable. And he's been pictured with a Spurs shirt a few times when he was younger.
Yeah, when he was younger.
You know, it's in his heart. He only wants the Spurs. He only wants Spurs.
It was only Spurs.
It was only Spurs. He's been praying for 20 years. His mum has kept all his old Spurs shirts for the last 20 years, and he's ready.
And you know, Kudus came in and said, "My heart's blue and white," but this guy's heart is really blue and white. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
From a very young age.
So look, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm confident it's going to get done, but I think just looking at the lay of the land, I do think there's a possibility that maybe we could do something here. But I think again, I think our biggest downfall in this deal could be West Ham's incompetence in the window, and that's also not a great situation to be in, because I think they've been probably one of the only clubs this window more incompetent than us, and we're relying on them to get some realistic good targets to satisfy them and allow Paquetá to leave. And will they be able to do that? I don't know.
Well, you're looking at the kind of calibre that West Ham are going for in the market right now. They've brought in Kyle Walker-Peters, right? Surely we've got some players above Bissouma, as well as Bissouma, that we could offer them as more like Brian Hill. They willing to take Brian Hill, Manor Solomon. I think Bissouma first of all would be a brilliant signing for them. I think, I think there is a deal to be made there. There's definitely a deal to be made.
45 plus Bissouma, 50 plus Bissouma.
I'll take it.
I think that'll be a great deal. That's a good deal for us, and I think that's a good deal for them. If he wants out, if he's not happy, you get a player that Potter knows well, and if in a position you'll desperately need, you get 50 million on top of that, and we get you your best player.
But you know, taking West Ham 2 out of their 3 best players in one window, that would be. Can you imagine that the other way, like for Arsenal, like if they took like 2 out of our 3 best players?
Levy wouldn't be able to leave the house.
Literally.
That's maybe might be with Sullivan. But then again, if they sell him, and look, from what I'm seeing from a lot of West Ham fans, not necessarily to us, but a lot of them are saying, look, if someone bids 60 million, I would sell. That's what a lot of them are saying. No one seems, a bit like what they were saying about Kudus, like no one seemed too distraught about the idea of selling him.
Yeah,
but it's about the idea.
I'm sorry, but that is like just pure copium in the fact that expecting him that he's going to go, in my opinion. And I think if they were to get rid of Paquetá, you're looking at around that squad for where's the quality? There is none. Apart from Jarrod Bowen, where's the quality? Yeah,
I agree. I think they don't realise they're probably sealing their relegation if they sell him. Obviously, depending on who they get, but I can't really see them getting anyone as good as him when he's at his best. I think, I think this would be a great deal for us. And I think he's one of these players who people don't realise how good he is, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, you know, it's very like... short-term memory, isn't it? Recency bias when people are looking at Paquetá, well, the West Ham fans in general, when they're looking at Paquetá, when they're looking at Mohamed Kudus, obviously they are both on the back of poor seasons, and now they're happy to get rid of both of them when they're both quality players. So that's the update for today. Maybe some more stuff will break a bit later. Every time I seem to say that, nothing breaks later, but hopefully this time is going to be different because there is only 6 days left of the transfer window. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you take Lucas Paquetá at Tottenham? And what are your thoughts on the Bissouma impending move to Galatasaray? Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.